Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome inside Plymouth Regional High School for this season opening duel. Finn wrestling here in the state of New Hampshire between the visiting Royals of Mascoma Valley Regional High School taking on the Bobcats of Plymouth Regional High School. Hello everyone, I'm Dan Selzer alongside my partner Aaron Como as we welcome you into our coverage here on the Granite State Sports Network and Pemmy Baker TV. Aaron, we look at things, a great season coming up, a difficult season last year for both sides, but a lot of upside going into the new year.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it seemed like forever to get to this day since the last meet last season. And, you know, it clearly wasn't the type of season that Plymouth Regional High School wrestling program has been accustomed to over the years. And, you know, the good news is we didn't lose anybody for the most part. We lost a couple of seniors last year that were certainly, you know, great contributors to this team. But the core of our really good athletes on this team last year were juniors and sophomores, and we've got them back. And you know, everybody's excited and everyone's working hard in the room. And you know, I think they're really prepared to go out there this year and bring back you know, a championship to Plymouth. And
you look at things, and you mentioned it to me before we're going on the air this evening. A very short break between football for a lot of these athletes here for Plymouth Regional, going to the state championship game and obviously falling, unfortunately, in their fourth straight visit. But only 5 practices before the season opener, so it almost kind of feels like a scrimmage, but yet you need to start off on a good foot. What are you looking for out of both sides and the individual matchups here that will kind of show progress heading towards, you know, the long season?
Yeah, you know, that's something that we've also become accustomed to here at Plymouth High School is, you know, our wrestlers or football players, and, you know, making it to the championship game, you know, usually pushes off their practice start time. And we've only had 5 practices, but they've been 5 really good practices. And I know that a lot of our wrestlers keep themselves in really good shape. And, you know, Coach Sambone actually does a great job during the football season at keeping them in shape and keeping them in the weight room, which is good, which keeps that muscle mass up. You know, tonight, really what we're looking at is 2 really good teams. You know, the Mascoma team is up and coming. Rick Simula coaches them. Rick is an alumni of Plymouth High School. He was a state champion here for Randy and Todd years ago, and he's really done wonders with that. Tonight, these matches, really, they're going to come down to conditioning because we've had such little time to prepare. And, you know, the closer matches, when you're lined up against someone that's your equal, conditioning is certainly going to play a part.
Real quickly before we send it downstairs, who's impressed you the most in the early going, the 5 practices so far for Plymouth Regional going into tonight?
Really, we've got a really big group of freshmen that have come out for wrestling this year. And, you know, a lot of them had never wrestled before. And, you know, when they come in the room for the first time, you look around and you say to yourself, wow, they have no idea what's coming at them, because a wrestling practice is completely different than any other type of athletic practice out there. And, you know, you kind of wonder how many are going to make it through the first week. And everybody made it through the first week and, you know, into the second week. And they're telling their coaches, their teachers, their parents how much they love it. And that's great for Plymouth wrestling. It really is.
And again, it's a program here in the White Mountains that is notorious with winning. Everyone thinks it's Plymouth with football winning constant, 26 state titles. But we look up on the wall off to our left, and there's a numerous amount of championships and runner-up positions for this program, and it's really kind of rebounded over the last few years.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Coach Cleary took over this program 20 years ago, I believe, or roughly thereabout. And, you know, prior to
27th year.
27th, so I cheated him out of 7 years there. 27 years. I mean, that type of continuity here at Plymouth High School is why these programs are successful. To have the same coaches, you know, year after year after year, starting the youth programs, being involved, and more importantly, being in the school, you know, so they can grab these kids in the hallway that need this type of program and say, hey, you know, you need to come into the wrestling room. But yeah, I think actively right now, Coach Cleary is probably the winningest coach in the high school for active coaches, you know. And short of football and maybe even the skiing program over the years, wrestling has certainly been one of the winningest programs year after year. He's won, you know, a dozen state championships or so, at least that many runner-up trophies, and there's even a New England championship banner over there from '91, I believe. And you know, it's been a great program for these kids for 30 plus years.
Well, we'll see what's going to happen. Right now, the Bobcats on the mat warming up. We're going to step aside quickly. We'll come back. We'll get the cross-court introductions and get you ready for the start of this season-opening duel. You're watching Plymouth Regional High School action here on the Granite State Sports Network and Pemmy Baker TV. Welcome back, fans, here inside Plymouth Regional High School. Warm-ups have come to an end. We're going to turn it downstairs to the public address announcer as we get set for the cross-mat introductions before we get underway in the season opener here on the Granite State Sports Network and Pemmy Baker TV.
Good evening. Welcome to Plymouth Regional High School for tonight's NHIAA Division III wrestling meet between the visitors from Mascoma and your Plymouth Bobcats. Please let us be positive in every aspect of this meet. Sportsmanship from the players, coaches, and fans. Positive cheering only and respect by everyone is expected for the official work in tonight's game. Thank you. And now let's meet our athletes. At 106 from the Bobcats, Jacob Heath. At 113 for the Bobcats, Aiden Scribner. At 120 from the Royals, Alana Silbreth. And for your Bobcats, Joe Peters. 126, Cam Stebbins. And for Plymouth, Charlie Como. At 132, Brian Lowell. And for Plymouth, Nathan Philbin. At 138 from the Royals, Roman Farnsworth. And for the Bobcats, James Philbin. At 145 from Mascoma, Asa McKetty. And for Plymouth, your captain, J.C. Gama. At 152, Tyler Meekus. And for the Bobcats, your other captain, Joe Clary. 160 from Mascoma, Dylan Pelton. And for Plymouth, Joe D'Ambruso. At 170, Justin Brewster. And from Plymouth, A.J. McKay. At 182 from the Bobcats, Cole Johnston. 195, Isaiah Russell. And for the Bobcats, Javon Cador. At 220 from Mascoma, Owen McKinney. And your heavyweight match from Mascoma, Caleb Hobbs. And for the Bobcats, Miles Patterson. Your official for tonight is the Matt Dorfler.
So there we have it, the matchups, and we'll get through it. There's a few forfeits on both sides tonight, Aaron. But looking at the matchups here, we just got them before going on the air. Anything surprise you going into tonight?
No, there's no surprises here. I mean, you know, it's difficult to field a full lineup across the state. You know, even Division I programs, we're looking at their rosters and in every sport, and it's just been tough, you know, to get kids to come out for sports. So it's not surprising that we've had a couple of forfeits on both sides.
So we'll look at things. We had the coin toss earlier after the weigh-in, and we're going to start at the 132 weight class with Brian Lowell and Nathan Philbin, but it will be a forfeit for the Royals because Lowell missed weight, but they are still going to have an exhibition at that 132. So we'll have that coverage for you right now as both teams get ready to go here in the season opener, but an early 6-0 lead for Plymouth.
Yeah, that gets you out to a start quick. You know, it would be nice to have had to wrestle the match for real, but, you know, it's great that they're going to allow these two kids to wrestle for a scrimmage. They need to, they both need the matches, you know, to get in shape because we got a big tournament this weekend, so everything's going to count here.
So the matchup, Plymouth will be the green, Mascoma will be the red. Plymouth on the right side of your screen in their home blues, Mascoma in their purples as always, as we're set to go at 132 to start this duel.
You know, Nathan is a senior, I believe, and, you know, he's been around a few years, and he's cracked the lineup a few times, and, you know, he does a great job. He works hard in the room, and, you know, we're really happy to have him.
Good attack early on there for Philbin.
He's got to set that shot up better. He just kind of took a blind shot there. He's got to, you know, get a better angle on that, or tap ahead, or you know, an elbow or something. He's got to set himself up better.
You got to think it's that early season jitters. Just try to get that first attack. Now the second one here going for the single leg. Just trying to get into the match.
Yeah, sometimes the jitters, you know, in your first match, you want to get them over with quick. So taking a quick shot and getting engaged with the other wrestler sometimes will help get you into that match quicker. So
Lowell going up high. Got to be careful near the head. He'll go down to the waist now for the attack, and we'll let go and we'll regroup.
Looked like he went for a headlock there and didn't quite have it tight enough. And Nathan went for a reverse headlock himself, and he missed it. And both wrestlers are experienced enough to know they got to break and start fresh.
Again, 2 minutes in each period here in New Hampshire high school wrestling. Past that first minute mark in the first period. Still no score in this first bout of the evening at 132.
He took a pretty decent shot there. He got in deep on that leg. He just didn't finish it. He stayed underneath, which is, you know, you can't hang out underneath. Coach will tell him all season long, you can't hang out underneath and let them impose their body weight on you.
See Lowell there going for that right leg of Philbin a little bit. Kind of half-hearted effort. They'll grapple and will reset near the middle of the mat.
Yeah, Lowell's been around too. He's wrestled for Mascoma a couple of years. He's a familiar face, and you can tell by the way he's working out there that, you know, he's no rookie on the mat.
Now we do have to mention that the Lebanon Raiders are here also for some exhibitions as a potential takedown 2, waiting for the call. No control yet on either side, says the referee. Still no control, still neutral, and no points coming.
A really nice scramble there.
Final seconds. So there we go. First period come to an end. We'll get the coin toss. And what stood out to you there, Aaron?
Yeah, you know, you can tell that conditioning is going to play a part in this match early. Both wrestlers have, you know, heavy chest already, and it looks like they're pretty evenly matched so far. So, you know, conditioning is definitely going to play a part here. Lowell
chooses the down position to start, trying to get the escape point here early on in the second. Great crowd inside Plymouth Regional High School this evening. We had the middle school bout earlier between these two schools. Now the varsity matchup.
Lowell went for a switch there. You know, he didn't clear his arm quite enough, and, you know, Philbin was able to arm chop and tight waist and bring him back to the mat.
Philbin had an opportunity to wrap up that left leg. Still no escape for Lowell. Now he'll get the escape point rather easily in the first point of the season.
Yeah, Nate, Philbin's going to have to get to work here. You know, he can't, you know, let this be a low-scoring match. He's going to have to get after it and, you know, push through this conditioning piece and you know, push Lowell into, you know, not being in as good a shape and grinding this match out, as they say, you know.
And again, don't forget, this is technically a forfeited match, so already 6 points in the team score for Plymouth due to Lowell missing weight. Narrowly missing weight from what we understand, but a good attack here from Philbin.
Yeah, great shot, you know, except for he didn't clear his head. And now he gets thrown in a headlock there. He stepped right into it, and as you can see, Lowell stepped across and really threw a nice headlock, and now he's getting near fall points.
Back points here coming for Lowell. Had the takedown 2. Close to getting Philbin's shoulder back.
Yeah, Philbin just fighting for his life here. He's going to try and keep that shoulder blade off the mat.
24 seconds to go in the second. Again, near fall points of 3 at the moment for Lowell, trying to get the victory in this exhibition. It's close. Again, Aaron, I'm so used to the college level. Is it touch or is it?
It's touch. I mean, I think the ref gave him a little extra there. You know, I mean, as soon as those shoulder blades touch the mat, you know, it's a pin.
So Lowell gets the unofficial win by fall, but 6-0 Plymouth as James Philbin steps up for the Bobcats at 138, taking on Roman Farnsworth.
Yeah, James Philbin, the brother, you know, we expect a lot out of him this year. He really wrestled tough last year, and in the offseason, he did a bunch of extra work. He went to some wrestling camps, and, you know, he put the extra time in. But Farnsworth is no stranger to the mat either. He's been around a while. That's a family name over there in Mascoma. His older brother was a fantastic wrestler several years ago, a state finalist, and so, you know, Farnsworth is a very experienced wrestler as well, but we'll see what happens here.
Well, we got James Philbin, the D3 place winner at 138 last season. Working up high. Gets the reversal, gets those 2 points.
Yeah, actually able to just kind of shuck them down and spun for the 2-point takedown there, and you know, he's going to try and break him back down to the mat here and start working on near fall points.
Good work there from Farnsworth to get back to his stomach, preventing getting over that 90-degree angle on his back.
If Philbin's trying to pull that wrist in and get a bar arm here, maybe he can work a half, but he's continuing to try and break him down here.
Work towards the edge of the circle. Whistle will sound with 57 seconds to go in the first period. And they're going to stay Farnsworth in the down position.
Philbin's one of those wrestlers that you know, we don't worry as much about his conditioning, because he did cross country this fall and you know, really got his lungs expanded, and he's notorious on this team for having a motor. Like, you know, the kid just never stops. He just keeps going.
Still not an official reversal yet. Still 2-0 in favor of Philbin towards the edge of the mat. So lucky break there for Philbin in near reversal. Still a 2-0 lead here in the 138 weight class.
Yeah, I think he's starting to tire him out. You can see Farnsworth is getting fatigued a little bit. He's you know, trying to push back, and you know, he's doing push-ups really more than turtling his legs underneath him, and he's using a lot of strength to do that. That's something that Coach Cleary and Coach Austin teach our kids, is to turtle your legs up underneath you rather than try and push up with your arms in a push-up position, and that's going to wear him down.
Yeah, we see Farnsworth had his right arm wrapped up for a second, looking for that armbar again. Was Philbin, decides to work on the midsection. He just keeps kicking those legs out as the first period comes to an end.
Yeah, James is tough on top. He's a little bit taller than most of his opponents in this weight class, and you know, he's got those long, lanky arms and legs, and he can really drape over people.
So they'll start neutral here in the second. Still a 2-0 lead for James Philbin.
James just kind of, you know, bullying into him there, and Farnsworth was able to shuck him down, and James just tries the throw by there, but he's going to be out of bounds. That's a great move on the line like that. It's very, you know, low risk.
Close there to trying to keep that right leg inside the circle, inside the cylinder, but to no avail. Referee decides to blow the play dead.
If I was Philbin, I'd go back to that head and try the, you know, just snapping him down and spinning behind like he did the first time, and it seemed to work. And, you know, the more fatigued Farnsworth gets, the easier it's going to be to snap him, shuck him, and, you know, spin behind.
Philbin's working on that left wrist right now, trying to go for that exact shot. You're on the left side of your screen. Minute 10 to go in the second. Still 2-0 lead for Philbin here at 138.
Yeah, Philbin needs to, you know, have a little more offense in this situation. He's kind of hanging around, and he's waiting for Farnsworth to shoot so he can throw a defensive move like this. And, you know, that's James. He does that a lot. And in that particular situation, it worked again. Yeah, you know, Farnsworth hung his head. He was able to shuck him and spin. Gets
a spin, but a reversal and escape there for a point. 4-1 lead now for Philbin. Here with 42 seconds to go. You're right, just waited for that. Shot his legs out, got Farnsworth in a culpable position and just spun around easily for the takedown too. Yeah, and you know, that works against you know, kids that are willing to take those kind of sloppy shots on you. But as we move through the season and
James comes up against more experienced wrestlers who aren't going to take sloppy shots. He has to develop an offense to score points. He can't continue to score points on defense against good wrestlers.
Approaching 20 seconds to go in the second. Still at neutral. Everyone working up top. Kind of a stagnated attack here.
Yeah, both men, I think, are stalling a little bit, trying to catch some breath here. They know the period's coming to an end. Occasionally, you see them peek up at the clock.
Here's a shot on the single leg attack. Got to be careful of the reversal. Philbin with some quick moves to get back square to Farnsworth as the period comes to an end.
Yeah, James used the clock there at the end to take a quick shot, hoping to score with this time ran out, but he almost gave up a takedown as well. You got to be careful when you're up 4-1. You don't want to give out a takedown with 5 seconds left.
Philbin starts in the down position for the third period. The 4-1 lead, looking for the escape point here. Does nicely to get back to his feet, trying to get the reversal. Does get the 2 points there, 6-1 lead for himself.
Yeah, he came out the backside there, and he should have looked for a half Nelson immediately. Farnsworth was exposing himself, and I think he could have, if he'd have sunk that half Nelson, he would have been able to turn him for near fall as well.
Farnsworth getting back to his knees momentarily. Good job by him to really avoid, as you talked about, getting onto his back or even onto his hip here in this bout to avoid those back points for the most part.
Yeah, Farnsworth fought it off, but I think, like I said, you can see the fatigue starting to set in a little bit. Farnsworth has done, majority of the work from the bottom, and that wears on you after a while.
So 1:12 here with a stoppage toward the edge of the circle. And escape point for Farnsworth, 6-2, but both of his points on escapes. He needs to get going here late for Mascoma Valley.
It was a great stand-up, very explosive, and he was able to break the grip and spin and get his point. But he has to get after it too. With 50 seconds left, he's got to score 4 points to put this thing into overtime, or he's got to get a pin to win it. So he can't afford to just stand around like they have been in this neutral position.
He's got 40 seconds to go for an attack. He's gone one leg a few times on that right leg of Philbin, but to no avail so far. Final 30 seconds. Going for it, trying to work up top and drag Philbin down to the mat.
Yeah, James would be wise to break the tie up because, Farnsworth's going to go for what they call a home run move at some point. He's going to recognize the only thing he can do is try and throw him to his back.
Stall warning here on Philbin.
And rightfully so. He's just holding on and backing up. He needs to become more offensive in this situation.
Final 10 seconds. Philbin just trying to run the clock out for victory. And that's the horn. And another win for Plymouth with the decision here, 6-2.
Yeah, we'll take it. With 5 practices into the season, that was a great 6-minute match for him to grind out and come out with the win against a really good wrestler. Farnsworth will be in this weight class down the stretch, and him and James will be they'll be wrestling several more times this season.
So we move to 145, and it's Asa McKetty for the Royals taking on J.C. Comer.
J.C.'s a captain, senior. He's been wrestling for a while. J.C. is one of our toughest wrestlers. He's a 3-time Division III finalist, and last year placed, I believe it was 5th in the meet of champions, so he's an all-state wrestler. We expect big things out of him.
Already a takedown, 2 for him early on in the first period.
Yeah, great takedown. He got after it quick. Now he's working on that wrist, trying to sink a bar in. He's going to have to break him down flat, though. The other wrestler's kind of, turtling up underneath.
Still working Comer on the back of McKetty.
Trying to roll that wrist in. If he can roll it underneath his opponent's body and get him flat, then he can throw in a half or work something else with a bar arm.
He's trying to pull his arm into his chest right now. There he goes for the flip. Doesn't get enough strength, though.
He tried to pull him back there. The other opponent sat out, kind of left himself leaning backwards a little bit. JC went for the pullback, and he just couldn't secure it.
45 seconds approaching left in the first. McKetty working towards the edge of the circle, trying to get a stoppage here, and does so.
I think that's good. We need a fresh start anyway. Off the whistle, a lot of things can happen, and that can work in both wrestlers' favor depending on how the match is, playing out at the time.
Keddy will look for escape quickly here off the mat on the restart.
I'm actually surprised that Coach didn't have JC just cut the wrestler and give him the 1 point and go back to his feet, because I think we're far superior on our feet in this match than the other wrestler.
Trying to flip McKetty, and they'll be out of play on the right side of your screen with 27 seconds to go. But you're right, get back to neutral, try to go for those attacks down low, trying to go for that at least two-leg attack has seemed to be working for Plymouth over the last few years.
Right. You got 20 seconds left here, and if he can try and work a turn for a near fall, or
still attacking.
Yeah, he's got the butcher in. He's rolled him. He's got him to his back. He's going to get some near fall points there. He's got some time left to secure a pin here if he can just squeeze him tight enough.
Final 5 seconds in the first, trying to get the fall. And the time will expire. Near fall points of 3 coming for Gomer. But good work from McKetty to stay alive in this bout.
Yeah, he came to the front, secured that arm, down at the elbow, pulled it in tight and ran what they call a butcher, and was able to turn him over for some near fall points.
Whistle here. So they'll restart it. So we go neutral in the second. 9-0 Plymouth lead overall in the team scoring after 2 bouts with a forfeit and a decision.
Yeah, you can tell this is our first match. We're a little rusty here. Great shot there. You can hear the crowd loves those big shots when we lift the opponent off the mat.
And it's a clean takedown. It's not drastic. And the fall there for Gomer. Picks up some big points in the victory.
Yeah, that's how a captain goes out in his home opener and gets his team turned on for this match tonight. Great shot, lifted him off his mat, came down with a half Nelson right to his back. This time the other opponent was too fatigued to try and bridge off it. The captain gets his pin.
So another 6 points to Plymouth, a 15-0 lead as we move to 152. And it's Tyler Metkus taking on Joe Cleary, the other captain for Plymouth here in this bout. And Cleary with a big takedown, too, to start in the first 10 seconds.
Yeah, Joe Cleary, obviously the coach's son, Randy's son, and he's been wrestling since he was just out of diapers, and he's been in more matches than most kids in this state, and we expect this is his year. We really think that he's going to climb to the top of the podium.
So a near fall 2 points, and with the neutral restart here, given up by Cleary for the escape on the whistle, giving up that 1 point. Nice takedown of the leg there to sweep and get another takedown too.
Yeah, Randy told him to let him go, which I thought he would do in the last match because we're much better on our feet. And Joe clearly is better on his feet, and he gave him the 1 point for the escape just so they go back to their feet.
He's got back points for a second.
He's got plenty of time left in this first period, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Randy let him go again and go back to their feet.
And that is, well, I thought I saw the signal coming from him, but nevertheless, the near fall 2, 8-1 lead here in the first minute of the first period for Joe Cleary.
Yeah, and the Mascoma wrestler obviously, is not as an experienced wrestler as Joe, but you know what? He's putting up a fight here and probably wrestling arguably the best wrestler in the state this year.
Metkus in dangerous position here, and the fall, and with that fall, the senior and Joe Cleary picks up his 100th career win. Wow,
that's incredible. That's been a long time coming, to get your 100th win, and Joe deserves it. He's put a lot of work into this. His father has taken him all across New England in the Eastern Seaboard to wrestle. It's unbelievable. It's a great moment for Joe.
We're going to turn it over to the mat for a special presentation there for Joe Cleary. As a word just comes over the PA that's his 100th career win, and an ovation from his team and the crowd here inside Plymouth Regional High School.
Yeah, that's a benchmark that a lot of kids in the state go for, and not all of them reach it. And to reach 100 wins in a high school career, especially with the seasons being so short, it's an incredible feat. We're real happy for Joe.
Move on to 160. Dylan Pelton taking on Joe D'Ambrosio, and here we go. Two kind of really strong competitors doing battle.
Yeah, Pelton is a returning place winner for Mascoma from last year. I believe he placed third in the state in Division III. He's an experienced wrestler, but you know, D'Ambrosio's a junior. He's been around a little bit too. I suspect that this is one of those matches where conditioning is going to play a part.
Talking about D'Ambrosio with the football team, a lot of action on both sides of the ball this fall. So with that in the weight room, should be strong here in the early going of the season.
Yeah, Joe had a great football season. He's been a great football player for us for a long time, and you know, he joined the wrestling team as a freshman, first-year wrestler a couple of years ago, and you know, he's really come a long way.
Finds himself in a compromised position. Pelton has a takedown too here in the first.
Pelton's trying to sink that leg in, at the same time was going for a cradle here. Joe needs to be careful not to let his head get too close to his knee and allow him to secure that cradle. And Pelton's a strong wrestler too, you can tell. He's a strong kid.
He's trying to roll D'Ambrosio onto his back, bringing that left knee into the chest.
He has to be careful. He's riding a little high there, and Joe was almost able to pull him over the top there.
Still going for it, gets the back points coming. Was it enough, though? I don't see a signal. It doesn't look like it's enough. That is two.
I didn't think it was two. I thought it was too fleeting to give him a 2-point backs there, but I thought Joe did a good job to scramble out of that.
Well, escape here and a give up. So 4-1 the score line with 20 seconds to go in the first.
Joe needs to get busy here and work his stuff, work some inside ties, you know, go for his high crotches that he's good at. He can't allow you know, Pelton to get in like that, and those underhooks is what he's trying to do. And you know, Pelton's trying to get underneath him, jack him up, and then he can shoot in on those legs.
Final second here as time will expire in the first, and really it seems as though Pelton is using his height to his advantage in this bout.
Yeah, he's got a few inches on Joe, which, you know, in wrestling that leverage definitely helps, you know, and as you can see, you know, he's a strong kid. He definitely is a kid that hits the weight room. And you know, we saw Pelton this summer come to the Plymouth State University wrestling camp, so he too puts a lot of work into it in the off season. You know, you know, wrestling is his thing, and you know, it shows. He's doing a real great job out there tonight.
Yeah, it's more so now, over the last decade, from what I've seen here in New Hampshire, more of a focus sport for a lot of these athletes. It's no longer just kind of a stay in shape, you know, winter season sport as you go from football to lacrosse, so to speak. These athletes are really focused on the wrestling season, and it's shown with a lot of them going high ranks in the collegiate level.
Yeah, I mean, you really like to see your best athletes play at least 2 sports. In high schools like Plymouth, you like to see them play 3. But there are certainly some kids around the state that play just, you know, that just wrestle full-time year-round, you know. And, you know, you go down to the likes of Timberlane High School, and those kids, they wrestle year-round. That's their thing, you know. Options
here. Pelton got to be careful. Gets back to his belly nicely. Good work. And D'Ambrosio working towards the edge of the circle, and this one will go out.
Yeah, you can see the fatigue in both wrestlers here, and you know, Pelton started off, he was full of energy and really getting after it, and now you can see he's kind of taking his time getting back to the center of the circle and trying to catch a few extra breaths. And you know, if Joe D'Ambrosio was wise, he would push the pace here and really try and win out that conditioning battle, because that's what this match is going to come down to.
Final 45 seconds in the second period. 4-1 lead here at 160 pounds for Pelton, trying to pick up the first team points for the Royals this evening.
Joe needs to break him down. He's working the arm bar, trying to roll that wrist underneath, a few cross faces, but you know, he can't keep letting Pelton grab that wrist like he's doing.
Got to be careful. The shots up towards the head and the neck area.
Yeah, he's throwing a pretty aggressive crossface there, and you know, our ref tonight's probably one of the best in the state. And if he thinks it's unnecessary, he'll call it quick.
13 seconds to go here in their second.
You know, I think D'Ambrosio's getting frustrated because Pelton's really kind of stalling on bottom, and he's just kind of staying in a base and turtling underneath, and he's not allowing Joe to work anything. And I think he'll get called for stalling if he keeps it up.
Yeah, we saw the little hand flick up there from D'Ambrosio at the official going, are you going to call a stall, and try to make another attack as we head to the third. And it looks like D'Ambrosio will choose bottom.
Yeah, Joe's going to be on bottom. It's a good spot for him. He's explosive. You know, he's one of our stronger wrestlers. Got really strong legs, and you know he needs to explode out of there. He can't hang out on the bottom because you know he has to score points here. You know, Pelton's trying to not give up points at this point, and we need to score points. Pelton
just got a stall warning there for the shoot time. And waiting on the restart, trying to catch his breath. So
yeah, see, see how he's covering the hips. He's got his left knee over Dan Brusso's left leg, and then he's got his right knee over the hips. That really is a stalling technique. You know, it's hard for the wrestler on bottom to do anything. And you know, if he doesn't continue to try and work halves or arm bars, the ref's going to call him for stalling for just covering the hips like that.
Nearly gets Dan Brusso onto his back. Dan Brusso back up top.
I think Pelton was locking hands there. He wrapped both arms around the waist. You don't necessarily have to actually lock your hands. They just can touch.
Be close, yeah.
And it's locking hands. And he probably should have been called there.
Again, maybe just that split second, able to release that, but still working the midsection. Minute 7 to go here in the third. Pelton trying to get that victory.
Yeah, he's just trying to hold on and not give up points. And, like I said, he's doing a great job covering those hips. He's basically sitting right on the lower back of Dan Brusso, and it makes it difficult. But because he's holding that wrist and he's trying to turn Dan Brusso, the ref's not calling him stalling right now.
Final 43 seconds here in the third. 4-1 Pelton leading at the moment at 160. Dan Brusso trying to get back to his feet. Does so, gets the escape. Well, not official yet. Gets the reversal too. It's 4-3 here with 25 seconds to go.
Yeah.
He's got to get some back points at least.
A stall call here would be great because the Pelton is stalling on bottom hard. That would tie the match and send us into overtime. And I'll tell you, Joe Dan Brusso is the king in overtime for this team. But I just don't think the ref's going to call it, but he really should.
8 seconds to go, trying to work on that leg. Pelton turtles up. Still working close here as time expires. And Pelton will come away with a decision 4-3. And it's a 21-3 lead now in favor of Plymouth. Good bout there at 160.
Yeah, that was a good match for Joe Dan Brusso. I'm actually impressed, I mean, with 5 practices into the season, both wrestlers are pretty even, both experienced. Pelton's a returning place winner in the state, so to take that match to the brink like that, I was impressed. It was a good job.
So we move to 170, and Justin Brewster for the Royals will battle against A.J. McKay.
AJ's wrestled for a couple of years for us. His dad, Bruce McKay, was a wrestler for Randy and Todd back in the day. Was a state champion, really tough wrestler. And AJ has one of those wrestlers. When he started a couple of years ago, we say he couldn't walk and chew gum at the same time. But I'll tell you, he's put a lot of work into it, and he's a tough kid.
So as we get to the higher weight classes, what would you say McKay's kind of go-to move, or what are his specialties in his attacks in this matchup? When
you get to these bigger kids, a lot of times it's the big throws that win these matches. It's who can get the other on their back first, and whoever does usually can secure the pin. But AJ just needs to not get too wild, not try to throw anything crazy like there. He just tried to throw a headlock and just feel his opponent out, because the Mascoma wrestler is also an inexperienced wrestler. I'm not sure if he even wrestled last year, so AJ just needs to slow it down.
Brewster just giving some slaps up high, both looking for that little distraction and then make that shot.
Yeah, every time he slaps with that right hand, though, he leads with that right leg, if you noticed. And, AJ could snatch a high crotch or a single leg very easy, and Coach will show him that in film, and we'll try and correct that,
He's trying to at least get that leg in the air, and then he's going to compromise position as Brewster avoids that flip from McKay.
Yeah, he goes for the headlock again, but, was unable to secure that arm and head at the same time. And
they'll lock up. 20 seconds to go in the first. Still no score in this bout.
Again, a good time to play the line, with time expiring. Work the edge.
Brewster explodes in that attack. Final 7 seconds. Looks like both competitors ready to just let the period run out.
Yeah, we're going to have to take this one to the mat to score some points, I think. I don't think either wrestler will choose neutral. They're going to either go down or up so we can try and score some points.
Plymouth is going to defer here. And they're going to put McKay down.
Yeah, we deferred and Mascoma chose top. So it tells me that the Mascoma wrestler is confident on top.
McKay quickly back to his feet, gets the escape point nicely.
Great job.
The first point.
Didn't sit around, on the whistle, shot up, did his hand, worked his hand control, spun out. Now he needs to work for a takedown here.
And you wonder if it's that inexperience with Brewster, with McKay able to just quickly pop up and spin out of that one to start the second.
Brewster still keeps reaching and slapping with that hand, and AJ just needs to pop the elbow when he does that and shoot right in on that high crotch. He'll have a takedown if he can do that.
Again, it's the early season. You're not recognizing the attacks as much here until you go to the film.
Yeah, we wrestle this, these two wrestle again a few times, and we'll hopefully correct that. And, he keeps doing it over and over.
Goes AJ, to the leg there on the attack.
He tried, but he didn't do it when Brewster was going for that head tap,
Approaching the midpoint of this one. 1 minute to go in the second. Both just trying to distract up top. And you can kind of sense the frustration from McKay a little bit with these slaps up top. There's a beautiful attack from McKay. Can't wrap up Brewster. They'll spin around in the middle of the mat.
Yeah, the sideline's telling him exactly what I've been telling you. When he finally popped that elbow and got in on the high crotch, he just didn't finish it. He was in. He should have secured it.
30 seconds in the second. Both just waiting and waiting here on the attacks. 1-0 lead for McKay.
This match is going to end with a mistake, is my guess, is that somebody's going to try something outrageous and the other's going to catch them and put them to their back, and then this match is going to be over.
McKay just slapping away the attack up top from Brewster. Final 10 seconds in the second period.
Yeah, Brewster is heavy on the head. I mean, he's going to get called for that. I mean, that's, I think, a little excessive.
Yeah, it's very kind of, not really flamboyant, but just very loose and no control coming in with that arm by the looks of things.
Right, it's inexperience. I don't, for a second think that Brewster's being malicious. I think he's just inexperienced, and, realistically, it's a fight with rules anyway, so,
it's a controlled fight.
Right.
With McKay getting bottom here to start the third. Good throw down from Brewster. Still no points yet, and here's an escape point for McKay. 2-0 lead for him in the third.
Yeah, again, didn't sit around on the bottom. Got up, got after it, got hand control, spun into him, got his 1-point escape, and, now we don't have to wrestle to score points, but we can't get called for stalling either. It's really up to Brewster at this point to push the pace in this match, because he's losing 2-0. He needs to secure a takedown to tie it, or near fall to win it. And
again, we talked about it at the start of this bout. He's got a few inches in height advantage, and he really hasn't been able to use that to his advantage here in this matchup.
Not yet. I mean, we haven't spent a lot of time wrestling on the mat, which is usually when that height advantage really plays a big part. You can cover the body really well when you're taller.
Like McKay almost lost his headgear for a second and was exposed before a whistle even came. Final minute here in the third.
That was a great shot by Brewster.
But just lets McKay go. Surprised by that. Didn't try to take him down to the mat and get him up in the air.
Yeah, he had him. He should have just lifted him off the ground and brought him back to the mat. It was a beautiful shock. I mean, that's a very experienced move. I was surprised to see him pull that.
33 seconds. Stall warning here on McKay.
Just what I said earlier. We don't have to wrestle to score points, but we can't get called for stalling either. And, AJ keeps backing up, and that's why he's getting called for stalling here.
Down to 20 seconds. McKay steps in. He's locked up. See Brewster go for a kind of half-hearted one-legged attack.
Yeah, if I'm his coach, I'm yelling for him to go for a home run. That's what it's called. Just try something. Try and get him to the mat. Try and throw him. Force this thing into overtime.
He's got 3 seconds.
He'd rather lose 4-0 by giving up a defensive takedown than losing 2-0,
Well, the final score of 2-0 and kind of a subdued bout, but nevertheless, points to Plymouth.
Yeah, we'll take it again. First meet, 5 practices. AJ's not really an experienced wrestler, so we'll take it.
So we'll have a couple of forfeits in the next couple of bouts. So Cole Johnson will take the win in a forfeit at 182, but it looks like Plymouth will forfeit 195 with Kador being injured. And Isaiah Russell will battle Johnson here in the middle. So they'll trade 6 points either way here.
Yeah, Cole is a junior. You know, he wrestled as a youth and went away for it for a little while, and then he came back to it. We're glad he did. He's a specimen. He's one of the best athletes in the school. Had a great football year. I think he was all-state defensive or all-conference defensive back, and we expect him again to do really good things this year.
So we'll wait for the score to update, but it should be 30-9 in favor of Plymouth here in this mixed weight bout. And a takedown 2 for Cole Johnston.
Yeah, great snap down there. Spun behind, got his 2. Now he's working that wrist. He's going to try and get a tilt here for some back points. And he gets the 2 points for back there on the tilt.
That gets that. Nice attack. Good work coming, though, from Russo to get back to his chest. It's 4-0 in favor of Cole Johnston.
Yeah, Cole's in good position. You notice he keeps his hips tight to the other wrestler, keeps his legs covering at least one leg at all times. You know, he doesn't allow a whole lot of separation there, you know, unless he has a bar or a wrist control.
Look at Cole Johnson, the 2018 D3 place winner, but missed the state meet due to injury last year. Has an opportunity for the fall and gets it.
Great win for Cole, start the season, even though it was an exhibition match, you know. He did get injured last year towards the end, and it was heartbreaking for him, and it was tough for the rest of the team because he clearly was going to be a big point scorer for us going into the state meet, and, you know, we missed him at the state meet, but, you know, he's back, he's healthy, had a great football season, and, you know, we know he's going to go far this year for us.
So we move to 220, a forfeit for Plymouth. No one in the lineup there, so Owen McKenney will pick up the points. It'll sit 30-15 in favor of Plymouth as we head to the heavyweight bout. It'll be Caleb Hose doing battle against Miles Patterson. Or Patson, my apology. Can't see in the dark.
Yep, Miles Patterson. Miles, first-year wrestler. He's a freshman. He came out wrestling this year for us. You know, we're excited. It's tough for us to get those heavyweights in the room. You know, that's why we're missing a 95 and a 220. But you know, Miles is in here as a freshman. And again, we really weren't sure how he was going to take to it. But, you know, he's telling everybody he loves it. He's telling his parents he loves it. We're excited. And, you know, if we can keep him for 4 years, we'll make a state champion out of him.
It is Patterson, missing the R in my line chart here, so we'll get to the heavyweights coming up. So Patterson will make his way to the table to check in, and it should again be 30-15. That is what's indicated on the scoreboard, and here we go. The big fella's out on the mount.
Yeah, Miles just needs to not try and do too much here, and you know, stay within himself, do what he can do, work at a couple of moves that we've taught him already, and he'll do okay, you know.
Showing good strength, working inside and staying close as they're kind of butting heads right now, and that's got to be careful. We'll get the dangerous play as they keep butting heads like deer.
Yeah, the referee's going to warn both of them for it. I think it was more the Mascoma wrestler than it was Miles, and Miles just kind of returned the favor a little bit.
Nevertheless, back underway. Patterson rolling to escape an attack. Careful, and a takedown 2. Got on his back. Good attack here from Hobbs.
Yeah, it just kind of fell down and tripped over himself and rolled, and you know, Mascoma was able to capitalize on it and put him to his back here. And this is going to be a tough position to get out of with.
Still nothing yet on the points. Patterson working hard, and there comes the fall in favor of Hobbs. So just like that, it's going to be 30-21.
Yeah, we're just happy to have Miles out. Like I said, you know, if we have him for 4 years, we'll make a place winner out of him in the state. You know, just coming out for wrestling's a win for us, win for him, and you know, we're excited for him, and we'll see how that match turns out in 4 years.
So a couple of forfeits as we head to the back to the top of the order. 106, and Jacob Heath will take the forfeit victory. And same with Aiden Scheiber at 113.
Jacob's a freshman, you know, made 106 for us, which again, the lower weights, the heavier weights, they're always hard to find kids to do that. And, you know, Jacob's been wrestling a couple of years. We're excited for him this year.
So he moved to 120 pounds, and it'll be Silbrith against Peters.
Aiden Scribner at 113 just took a forfeit for us. Again, Aiden is a sophomore. He's been around a while, and we expect big things for him. He's been wrestling since he was a little kid, and he's going to score a lot of points for us this year.
So a 42-21 team score in favor of the Bobcats. As again, Joe Peters will wrestle for Plymouth, the third-place D3 finisher last year.
Yeah, Joe came out last year as a freshman, never had stepped foot on a wrestling mat, but he's fast, he's quick, he's strong, he's athletic, he's aggressive, and at the beginning of the year he couldn't win a match, and by the end of the year he pinned a kid in the consolation finals of the D3 state meet that had beat him a couple of times. And again, we expect him to return to the podium this year and score a lot of points for us.
Well, he gets an early takedown there for the 2 points and has Silbrith on his stomach. Again, doing well, keeping those legs out.
Working that cross face to secure the cradle. Now he puts his knee in the ribs there, and hopefully he can get a pin here.
Has the back points. Let him roll back over, so it'll be a near fall 3.
Roll that wrist in again and break his opponent down, and now he's working for the butcher here, it looks like.
Oh, good work getting his arm on his back and keeping it 90 degrees to try to flip him over.
Yeah, last year you couldn't even begin to show him a move like that at the beginning of the season, and now he's doing it with ease after one season of wrestling.
Silbrith, great work to get back to his stomach, trying to get back into that turtle. Does so nicely. Good work from him.
Joe's got that half in sunk real deep. He just needs to lift that near leg and continue to run it.
He does so, trying to tie up that knee. Now gets on the back, keeping him down on the mat with the final 35 seconds in the first. With him leading 5-0. Oh, nearly got Silbrith rolled over. Going for the attack again. Has some more back points coming. Just can't get those shoulders down far enough, though.
Great bridge there by Mascoma wrestler Silbrith. Just very flexible and hard to pin.
Jealous has more back points. Near fall 3, 8-0 lead. Here in the final seconds of the first. Looking for a major decision or even a technical fall. Throws him right back to the mat with 2 seconds to go. What a great opening period there for Peters.
Yeah, it was great. He got out there, got after it, scored 8 points quick, and he's in the driver's seat here,
So Silbrith will be in the down position here for the second, and with this being one of the final 2 bouts, Plymouth will have a victory here in the season opener. Oh, Silbrith just leaning back, trying to bring Peters down, and Peters with some good positioning gets the escape point, goes to the attack right away, and gets the 3 points on that little scrum.
Yeah, he gets the 1 point escape and then immediately the 2 point takedown, which is good. A few more points, he'll have that major decision. This match will be over.
Trying to get to 16, if I'm not mistaken.
Trying to get to it, yep.
Has Silbrith locked up, again working on that arm. Oh, good attack, trying to throw him over. Silbrith defends nicely, bracing with that right arm.
He's got a good half in there, but Silbrith is very flexible, just hard to turn.
And a whistle and potentially dangerous call there.
Yeah, Joe put in the full Nelson there, both his hands in there, and unfortunately that's illegal and gives up a point.
So a 10-point lead, 11-1 with 1:09 to go in the second period for Peters. Again, Plymouth will have an exhibition against Lebanon and the Raiders coming up next. We won't have coverage of that for you. We're just focusing on the Mascoma bout that counts here in the NHIAA.
Joe's got a minute here in the second. There's definitely plenty of time to put this match away.
Peters, again, working on that left arm. Has the arm bar on the back. Just trying to flip him. Silbrith. Oh, good work throwing the hip out to keep him on the stomach. Now gets rolled over past 90 degrees. Here are some more near fall points coming. lets him go, gets him to the stomach, goes for another attack, so no points on the board yet on this move. They try to let him come back and then flip him again for more points, not coming from the official.
Yeah, Silbreth is doing a great job at fighting off her back here, and
oh, it's close, and he touches for the fall. And good work there from Peters.
Yeah, great start for Joe for the season this year. It's great to start with a win and get back on track.
So here we go, the one that you've been watching out for at 126. Charlie Como for the Bobcats taking on Cam Steppen.
Yeah, Charlie. Yeah, Stebbins has been around a little while. He's no slouch here, but of course Charlie is a junior this year and is a two-time D3 finalist, one-time champ, and was a Media Champions finalist last year for the Bobcats and ended up finishing second in the state open.
So what would you say, with your experience with him, what he brings to the table? What are his best assets?
Well, first off, as you can see, he's quick as a snake, and he's a very aggressive kid, and he really loves to wrestle, and it's a sport that he's embraced, and he's put a lot of work in the off season as well by going down to some clubs and wrestling with Coach Cleary and Coach Cleary's son Joe. His best attributes are his hips. He's very explosive, and he exploits the other wrestlers' mistakes a lot. And people that wrestle Charlie end up on their back a lot. It seems like.
Yeah, look at that though. Stebbins in dangerous position here, gets thrown onto the back, trying to bridge and keep the shoulders off.
Yeah, Charlie needs to get his legs back. He's on his knees. He's not putting his full weight on his opponent there.
It's close. Has him in compromised position. Como trying to get Plymouth past the half-century point in the team score. It's 48-21 here in the final bout. It's close. Referee right in there looking at the shoulder blades. No fall coming yet. Great work from Stebbins. Bridges again.
Yeah, Stebbins doing a great job. He's trying to fight off his back. I can only imagine when he showed up and realized that, Charlie Como was weighing in at 126. He was, already not really looking forward to going out there. But, he's got a lot of courage, that kid. He went out there and wrestled him tough and, did his best to bridge off his back for the whole first period. But again, Charlie, we expect big things out of him. We expect him to pick up exactly where he left off last year and, place in win the D3s and place in the top 3 at the Media Champions again.
And that was a fall there for Charlie Como at 126 to pick up the victory, as we'll have some exhibitions here, but we'll have a final team score of Plymouth Regional 54-21 for the Royals. A great start to the season, as we talked about at the top of the show, with only 5 practices going into tonight.
Yeah, the goal tonight was, to try and avoid those 6-minute matches. We had a couple of them, and I thought we wrestled tough in them. But, to really go out there and try and secure a pin quick and not let that conditioning wear us down. And, the last thing you want to do is lose a match to somebody that you probably shouldn't because of your conditioning, Up now out here, we've got Mason Lassard for Plymouth, and Mason is a freshman, but again, he's wrestled for a very, very long time. He puts a lot of extra work into it in the off season. He goes to club wrestling. His older brother wrestled for us for 4 years, Hunter Lassard, and he's no stranger to the mat. I suspect before the end of the season that, or rather soon, Mason's going to crack the varsity lineup and get himself a spot.
Again, looking at the 138 weight class for him. So as you look back at the bouts here this evening, Aaron, as looks as though back points coming for Lassard. What stood out to you the most for Plymouth? What do you feel the Bobcats need to work on throughout the course of the season as you head towards the postseason in a few months?
Well, conditioning's the first thing. We need to get in better shape. We need to really work on that. We need to work on setting up our shots better. You saw early on in the earlier matches, more with our inexperienced wrestlers. They weren't taking good shots. They weren't taking good angles. They weren't setting themselves up properly. They were kind of just blowing in their blind, and they were giving up points because of it.
So we'll have that fall there.
Yeah, Mason gets the pin as I expected he would. You know, he's been around a while. He's a great wrestler, and he's going to do really good things for us over the next 4 years.
So as the exhibitions will continue, we'll sign off here on Granite State Sports Network and Pemmy Baker TV. We thank you for tuning in. Final score for the final time. It's Plymouth Regional 54, Mascoma Valley 21. For my partner, Aaron Como, our producer and cameraman, Andrew Fenn, I'm Dan Salzer. We'll see you next time here on the Granite State Sports Network and Pemmy Baker TV. Welcome back inside Plymouth Regional High School, joined by Bobcats head coach Randy Cleary. Coach, looking at things first, your 27th season entering, it looked like it was a slow go for your side, but you pick up that, 54-21 victory. What stood out to you the most about your team here tonight with only limited practice entering the season?
Well, I'd like to start by saying hats off to Mascoma, who is improving every year. Ricky Simula is an alumni of ours, the head coach there, and so hats off to them. They battled well. That being said, they did have a few weeks of practice on us. We had a late football season, so no excuses, but we've only have 5 practices under our belt. We need to get in better shape. You know, that stuck out to me. But senior captains, leadership, Joe Cleary getting his 100th win, J.C. Gomer coming through, Charlie Como, junior leader, who also has a lot of experience. You know, we're going to be leaning on those guys a lot. Cole Johnston, you know, the four of those athletes led us pretty good. So hats off to them. That sticks out in my mind, their performance.
Looking at things, a good mix of upperclassmen with a lot of freshmen this year. How have they kind of gelled? What's the feeling been like here in the first real weeks of the season?
Well, we do have a great freshman group, 15 freshmen this year, some freshmen with a lot of talent. And I'm looking forward to the future with them. Again, only having 5 practices, the freshmen really haven't gotten their feet wet, so we haven't got a chance to gel. We're gelling as a team in practice, but as a team in competition, we still got a ways to go. But really excited about the young kids. The older kids are working well with them. Again, we got great leadership this year. I'm excited about the future and ready to get back to work tomorrow. We really just need to get in the room and we need to practice, you know.
Look, you mentioned it a moment ago, Joe Cleary getting his 100th career win here in high school in that fall early on in this bout. What does he mean to this program, to you as a coach, to the history of Plymouth Regional Wrestling?
Well, Plymouth Regional High School has a great history of wrestling before I got here. I'm just glad that, you know, I could contribute a little bit, and Joe Cleary, my son as well. He's put the time in. He deserves it. You know, he doesn't have that success by chance or by luck. And you know, all the great wrestlers from the past, they don't just show up. They put their time and effort in. And, you know, one of the things that Plymouth wrestlers are known for is hard work and dedication, and it pays off. And that's how we win. You know, carries over from football as well and the other sports, not just football, but all Plymouth Regional High School sports. A lot of pride and tradition and hard work goes into it. And wrestling is no different. So.
Looking at the road ahead, you've got your tournament coming up, a bunch of bouts and tournaments on the road as well. What are you looking to improve in the short term, and what are your expectations for this season here in the new year?
Well, our expectations, I'll start with that. You know, we always come in, you know, thinking we can win. You know, we want to win. We practice to win. And, you know, our goal is certainly top 3 in the state meet and to compete the best we can all year long. But, you know, short term, we've got to get in better shape. Again, they work very hard, but we've only had 5 practices. I keep saying that. We need to be better shape cardiovascularly, and then in the long run, we need to work on our technique. Our technique was not there tonight. You know, we were backyard wrestling a lot, and you know, in addition to the cardiovascular, the technique comes in, and in the long run, that's going to be important for us to have those repetitions and be able to execute.
Coach, as always, thank you for your time. Congratulations on the season opening victory. We'll talk to you a little bit later in the year.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Head coach Randy Cleary. That's going to do it for us once again inside Plymouth Regional High School. For our entire staff, my partner this evening in Aaron Como, our producer and cameraman in Andrew Fenn, I'm Dan Salzer. Final score for the final time, Plymouth Regional 54, Mascoma Valley 21. We'll see you next time here on the Granite State Sports Network and Pemmy Baker TV.